We're pleased to have Robin Strong, Head of Front Office for Linedata's European business in the Osney buy-side office today. Robin, what are your clients looking for over the next year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the challenges in our market is that all of our clients are looking for subtly different things, and the challenge being a vendor is actually to try and identify common themes and use that to leverage your product development and how you actually deliver services to meet those challenges. And really there's probably three main themes that recur every single time we have conversations with our clients. Those are challenges around the complexity of the markets today and the range of things our customers have to deal with. The second thing is probably the external challenge, the pressures of regulation, when external parties are asking customers to do things that perhaps they weren't required to do previously. And then thirdly, there's the cost angle. Despite having to do more of these things to challenge complexity and to deal with regulation, there's a cost element. Customers are facing budgets that are frozen or perhaps down on previous years, yet they still have to meet these additional challenges. And that's where coming in as a vendor service provider, a genuine partner for these organisations, one of the main demands on us is to try and find ways to give them the right cost point to allow them to grow their businesses.
Oh, I can see the challenges. And so how do you expect the market to evolve over the next year, maybe over the next 5 years? What is your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly short term there's some very firm things that we know about already. So some of the regulatory deadlines over the next 12 months are quite significant. We've got the introduction of AIFMD, parts of Dodd-Frank and EMEA will place some fairly major changes in the market in terms of central clearing of derivative contracts, etc. So some things like that are known quantities, and we understand those sorts of challenges. I think a big theme that has really hit the market in the last sort of 12 months or so is around consolidation, particularly on the technology side of things, vendor platforms. Most of our clients, they use a whole range of different platforms from different vendors, and one of our challenges is to make sure that we are the vendor partner of choice for these organisations, and that involves more than just producing the right software. That also involves producing the right delivery model. So a lot of customers are looking to outsource and actually right source is a phrase that's quite often used to try and find the right way to operate those platforms efficiently for their businesses. And I think there has been a sea change really in attitudes amongst sort of the real decision makers in our client base. If you asked them 3 to 5 years ago, they all wanted uniquely customized, bespoke solutions that would really leverage the unique values of their business. I think what firms have realised, that uniqueness is great, but it has a very substantial cost point. It reduces agility, it makes it hard for these systems to be upgraded. So a lot of our customers are really looking for more standardisation, they're looking to leverage common approaches, and that's where they're looking for vendors like Linedata that have a broad spectrum of different customers in different geographies to bring that sort of best of breed experience of the right way to do things in addition to actually providing the software. And I see that trend really carrying forward. Firms are looking to do more with less. Therefore, they're looking to adopt industry best practices. They're looking to apply standards, things like FIX and SWIFT and other industry bodies that define some of these standards. And they're also looking for vendors that are tried and tested, that have some war stories to bring to the table that allow them to say, well, actually, sometimes vendors say yes to everything a client asks. I think what's very important is sometimes to say, no, actually, you could do it that way, but there's a better way based on what we've done with other clients. Here's some alternative approaches that we think would add value to your business. And I think customers appreciate that sort of, really that guidance and that influence in the direction that they want to go in.
That's a really interesting perspective. Yes, right sourcing is exactly what people like to use now. So what are the big opportunities for investment managers now?
I think actually in the investment space, one of the fundamental differences, if you look back, say, 10 years, there was an awful lot of investment managers that were very regionally focused or very focused on a single asset class. I think that model has really been challenged. I think if you look at most of the larger successful asset managers, they offer diversification globally. They're investing in markets that are higher growth economies. We're talking China, other parts of Asia, Latin America, where there are substantial growth opportunities, but they have their own challenges to invest there. They have challenges on currency controls, investment restrictions on foreign share ownership, and having to have certain local entities and custodians and so on. So that's challenging for firms to actually provide exposure there. I think at the same time what we've seen is a bit of a polarisation in the industry. What we've seen is very high volume, low unit cost investment products in the passive space. The beta investments that you get from BlackRock and Vanguard and some of these big global managers have really challenged the price point. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got very specialist managers, you've got hedge funds, you've got LDI strategies, you've got very niche, complex, sophisticated investment products that charge a premium for providing that expertise. And I think in the middle is the real challenging area. I think mid-sized asset managers are trying to work out how they can extract value from their skill and their performance they're getting from their funds, but without necessarily having the $1 trillion of assets under management they need to get that scale. And I think that real melting pot in the middle ground is really where a lot of the changes will occur. We're already seeing a lot of mergers and acquisitions activity. We've seen long-only asset managers acquiring hedge funds. We've seen hedge funds merging with other hedge funds. We've seen introduction of other approaches for firms to try and get scale. There's been some very recent transactions, obviously the announcement of a SWIP acquisition by Aberdeen being a prime example for firms looking to get that scale across their business.
Robin, that's a really good overview of the European landscape. So what market structure changes are you seeing? What changes are you seeing in the market structure, and how do you plan to adapt?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's probably a multifaceted answer to that. I think obviously in the equity markets, post-MiFID, the introduction of sort of dark pools and fragmentation and so on brought its own challenges. I think they're probably well understood by the market now. There's a degree of maturity, despite it in the grand scheme of things being a relatively short time frame. But I think we're seeing some changes now in other asset classes. We're seeing with EMEA and Dodd-Frank changes to the way derivatives are traded, the futurization of swaps, central clearing, a number of these things that firms have to adapt to. And I don't think there's any real clear direction in the market yet. I think firms are coalescing towards a number of standardised models. I think the reality is that has to standardise a little bit further. And I think again, if you wound the clock back, if you were just a UK equity manager and did nothing else 5 years ago, you wouldn't be too concerned about that. I think these days almost all investment managers have a much more broader geographic scope. They trade a much broader range of instruments, so that the sheer number of different markets and different asset classes gives you that sort of multiplication effect, so that the challenge is much bigger than just dealing with the changes in your own domestic market. And I think that's probably driven a lot of the demand for experienced legal and compliance personnel to work alongside risk officers to make sure that trading is being done in the right way. Part of our challenge as a vendor obviously is to try and encapsulate all of that functionality and the different structures and workflows into our product, so that it's maybe not quite you just turn it on and it's there, but that we can work with clients and have the support in the platform to enable us to allow them to to trade all of these assets in all of these markets.
Robin, that was really useful. Thank you. My last question on this is, what do you expect to get out of TSAM this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, being such a large event, that attracts a very broad range of personnel, really of all levels, both business and technical. Obviously, the focus very much on technology, and as a vendor of technology, it's a great opportunity for us to engage with some of our existing customer base, hopefully meet some new potential customers, and hopefully be able to have some conversations with them about some of the newer initiatives that we have in the product space. It's more evolution than revolution, I think, because of the market changes that we discussed. We've done a lot to our product to support that. What I'm keen to do is try and find the right mechanism to engage with potential customers, to talk to them about some of the ways that we can potentially help them reduce their costs, adapt to the regulatory change, and move their businesses forward.
Robin, that was really interesting. It's always very good to keep track of your journey for Osney Buy Side. Thank you for coming across.
Thank you very much.